What's up, guys? So, good morning. For one, it's a great day. It's looking peachy out there. So, in the monk mode group, I've been getting a lot of questions from guys that are asking me about how to handle things like anxiety and anxiety depression, or depression. And really, it's just an emotional kind of continuity and emotional struggle. And I know that there's a lot of guys out there that do struggle with that. And so in this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about NoFap and pornography, masturbation, addiction. So with that, we'll get started. Just enjoying my morning cup. Good stuff. One book that I cannot press enough, I made up my mind. So one book that I cannot press enough onto you guys that you should be reading. And if you have not read it, you should read it. Especially if you are really deep into the addiction of pornography. And I really think it will bring a lot of insight. It'll help you understand yourself better, your tendencies, your addictive compulsions, and your behavior. Well, your compulsive behavior. And in the book, like I was reading through it a little bit today, your behavior compulsions. So the book is called Your Brain on Porn. Bought it on paperback through Amazon. Cannot talk today. For Amazon, through Amazon, for $13.99, about roughly 13 bucks. It's this thick, paperback, can really browse through it. Man, and you know, I think there's this really, for me in my life and my journey, because I struggled with this. I'm not going to get into it, but I struggled with this same thing that you guys went through, that are going through it on the group. And this really was a stepping stone for me, because as far as I can tell you guys, like I was definitely in a weird place and a dark place in my time in life, and I've mentioned this maybe in another video that I've done, but anyway. And I wasn't sure if I should share it with you guys, but I wanted to share a small piece, because it's funny that a lot of these tendencies that are talked about in this book by Gary Wilson, by the way, or talked about by Gary Wilson, he compares it a lot to drug addictions, or addictions to cigarettes and alcohol. We could agree and disagree at the same time that alcohol is a drug, but it can definitely be addictive to someone, one person in their life. So with that, the brain receptors and opiate receptors and stuff in the brain, dealing with these chemicals that you're putting into your body, naturally already occur in your body, and then they're like enhanced or just tweaked a little bit more to the point where you're feeding your body that. And it's the same thing with this addiction, is the best way that I could describe it. The more you feed it, the more you're going to have an emotional compulsion, or a compelling emotion, there we go. Compelling emotion to do the act, to continue to stay in this addiction and to not get out of it. So, one part was, he references a lot of scientists, stats, things like this, doctors in his book. So I highly recommend it. But I'm going to read a chunk out of here. Charles O'Brien, MD, chair of the DSM-5 work group on substance-related and addictive disorders, says, the idea of a non-substance-related addiction may be new to some people, but those of us who are studying the mechanisms of addiction find strong evidence from animal and human research that addiction is a disorder of the brain reward system. And it doesn't matter whether the system is repeatedly activated by gambling or alcohol or another substance. So that, in a nutshell, is pretty much just what I just said. So a lot of these tendencies and a lot of these compulsions that you're having up here, it all begins in the mind, for one. And two, they're pretty much related. So they're almost always going to be the same, and you're going to almost always have the same effect. I'm just checking the time. So anyway, guys, don't hesitate. Read this book. Buy this book. Buy it off of Amazon. Wasn't really planning on doing a book review, but I read it one time. It's a good book. I still page through it from time to time. It's just a good reference to have on hand, in my opinion, instead of just looking it up online. So he does have a website called yourbrainonporn.com that him and his wife made. I highly recommend going to that site as well to get more information, just to understand what you're going through and what you can do to get back on track. So Your Brain on Porn by Gary Wilson. Highly recommend it for you guys. Read it, especially for you guys in the group that have been asking me these questions in the Monk Mode group about how to deal with your emotions.